recording. Okay,
I
we're
just wanted to make
recording
sure
now.
that was in place before we got into
Yeah,
the meat and potatoes.
yeah, okay, very good. Okay. Okay, well, since we're recording, why don't I begin? Thanks everybody for joining us today for Winning Work, Lessons from Silverleaf Award honorees. My name is Mirko Petricevic, CMP, and I'm the coordinator of Ink Stain Wretches, which is a grassroots advocacy group. That's why you see my name, Ink Stain Wretches there. And we promote support for quality journalism. And I'm based in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. And I'm here on the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the Neutral peoples. So we've got a couple more people in the waiting room. Let's get them in here and we can begin. Okay, welcome one and all. Again, my name is Mirko and I'm your host for today for this webinar. It's great to see you here from all over Canada, I suppose. I don't know if anybody left a hand if they're from outside of Canada. Have we got any international guests today? Not that I'm seeing, but okay. Okay, so welcome here. My name is Mirka. I'm really excited to be hosting this with some great panelists, recent Silver Leaf Award honorees. And I'm really excited about hosting this because I'm a really big fan of the IABC award programs because they're not just award programs for me, they really are professional development opportunities. If you're entering a silver leaf or gold quill, what you're doing is you're entering a professional development workshop. And I just, as a lifelong learner, as I'm sure many of you are, you'll find it worthwhile. It's a lot of work, it's rigorous, but it's worthwhile. So just overall program overview today, I'll just make a couple of brief introductions of the panelists. Then I'll hand it over to the panelists to describe their award-winning projects. We'll do a Q&A. One of the panelists today is an evaluator, served as an evaluator on Silverleaf, as I have. And so we'll maybe get into a little bit about from the evaluator's perspective. And then we'll close with Jay Bowers, who's running the tech today. He's the National Programs Director, IABC Canada East. And so he'll share a little bit more about deadlines and whatnot. I believe he's already put in the chat a link to the IABC Silver Leaf Awards website. So you'll be able to have all your links there, the deadlines, which is, the last one there is, well, we've got a number of deadlines going into mid-July. Okay, so first of all, I just would like to introduce, we're going to go alphabetical first names with our panelist, Ann Gerson, based in Mississauga. Give us a wave. And she's Senior Manager of Communications and Marketing at Entente Education Canada. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Entente.
That's correct.
And, okay, thank you. And her project was an event, a successful event held in Quebec City. We also have with us Sage Pullen McIntosh, based in Calgary. She's Director of Communications and Public Relations at Calgary Co-op. It's a retail cooperative, and their project was a membership refresh and launch of a new app. And she's also has served as a evaluator for Silverleaf, aka a judge. And so we'll have, maybe if we have time, we'll have a little conversation there about an evaluator's perspective on the Silverleaf. And also we have Tyler Butler from Edmonton, partner and with Adverb Communications. His group had several projects that have been honored by Silverleaf and also some real success at Gold Quills as well. So welcome to all our panelists and thanks for being here. And I'm going to, again, Anne, if you could start us off here, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career journey, where you're at in your career journey, and if you can tell us about your winning project.
Okay, so my career. So I'm a senior manager, marketing and communication at Entente Education Canada. I've been with Entente Education Canada for 5 years now. Um, Before I started my career in an advertising agency in Luxembourg. I'm Belgian. I moved to Canada 15 years ago. And then from there, from advertising agency, I had different roles. The one before Adult Education Canada was I was working for French language school boards in Ontario. I did a lot of communication, marketing, but also advocacy work for them, for the French language schools. Um, so we are the proud winner of a Silver Leaf Award for an event that we did in 2025. The event was to revitalize our district in Quebec. It's part of the category Division 4, communication skills, and category 22, special and experiential events. So just to introduce who we are and what we do, we submitted the project as RTOERO, but beginning of this year, January 1st, we changed our name to Entente Education Canada. And we are a bilingual national nonprofit organization. We serve more than 87,000 members from the education community across Canada. What do? We provide health insurance to our members, so mainly from the education community, but we are also much more than that. We advocate for or on issue affecting older adults. We promote environmental stewardship, and we offer opportunities for members to stay connected. In our organization, we have 51 districts or chapters, if you want, across Canada. And connecting and creating a community is really central to the mission of our organization. It's insurance, it's health insurance, but it's also really a whole community. Our vision is a healthy, active future for older adults in Canada. And our mission is really to create, to be a bilingual, trusted advocate on healthy, active living. Part of our goals is broaden membership and insurance participation. So we had a challenge. We have one district, so we have 51 districts, but we only have one district in Quebec. And that district was not doing so well. It covers the entire province of Quebec. We have approximately 700 members in Quebec. It was created just before the pandemic, so maybe it's part of the issue. And really, the executive team never really took off. It was living, but it was really not doing great. And in 2024, the district even failed to hold an AGM. So we really thought about that, and we wanted to do something about it, because really our goal is to broaden our membership, but also we really want to be there for the well-being of our members. So we thought about the issue, and then our goal were to rebuild engagement, reestablish trust and connection, recruit new volunteers for the leadership team, because really for us, for a district to be active, you need at least the four required executive roles, that is a president, past president, secretary, and treasurer, and we didn't have them. And then the ultimate goal is really to create a sustainable future for that district. So in one word, we really wanted to create or recreate a dynamic district. So we had three main objectives. We created an event, and at that event, we wanted to attract 50 attendees. We also wanted 80% of the attendees to rate the event as excellent. And we also wanted the last objective. We wanted to establish the volunteer leadership team for the District 51. So we wanted at least 4 volunteers. So it was a 2-day. We decided to organize a 2-day in-person event it was March 27 and March 28, 2026. It was in Quebec City. So that event combined relationship building, education, volunteer recruitment. So we created an agenda, and to give you a quick, overview of the agenda, we had a guided tour of Quebec City. Then we went to a traditional sugar shack dinner. And the day after, we had a conference with, networking activities, keynote speaker presentation on healthy aging and resilience for older adults. We had information session on member benefits and the organizational priorities. And we had discussion about the future of that district, the Quebec district. So we succeeded attracting 65 members. So we had 65 attendees to that 2 days event in Quebec. The budget, we had a budget to organize the event. So we had a 35,000 budget to do that event. So we were kind of lucky with our budget because each year our organization, we found each of the district. And because that district was not that active, they didn't use the funding that we give them yearly. So we were able to use that funding to fund this event. So we didn't need to find, an extra budget somewhere. It took us 14 weeks. It was pretty short event, 14 weeks to plan everything. We used approximately 200 staff hours to do the event. So the main goal was really to rebuild a volunteer-led community and also to establish a sustainable future. So the first thing we did, we looked at our audience. We knew there were, French-speaking education sector retirees. We also know that 87% of them were over the age of 55, and that 85% of them were retirees. We know also that they have strong interest in health, wellness, travel and volunteering, and that they value personal relationship and community, and they prefer communication in French. So we created, personalized communication. In general, when we speak and communicate with our members, every communication is bilingual. Usually it's English first and then French second. But here, so we decided to change that to only send a French communication to those members living in Quebec, just to show them that communication from the start is different. It's really aimed and personalized to them. So we had that kind of communication with them from the invitation to the follow-up after the event. In our communication also, we wanted the communication to have a clear connection to the organizational priorities, so the well-being of seniors, healthy aging. We wanted to speak about member engagement and belonging. We wanted to speak about volunteerism and community building. So now that we knew our audience, we also decided to really focus on building connection before content, because that district had existed before, but the missing part was really the connection between people and people feeling engaged. And we know that people volunteer for people before they volunteer for any organizations. And we wanted the attendees to connect with one another before asking them to commit to volunteer or, to help with the future of the district. So what we did, once the invitation was launched, was sent to everyone, we sent a survey, a pre-event survey to the attendees, asking them about their interests, their hobbies, and volunteer aspiration. So that was the first item. And then from the start, that was a Sunday afternoon, people received a name tag, so they could identify each other. They could, call each other with their name, just knowing each other's. And then we started with activities so we didn't start with a conference. We really started with activities to give people a chance to meet and connect. So we started with a guided Quebec City tour, and it was in a bus. So people, had to speak together. They were together in a bus. And then we had that Sugar Shack dinner. Again, opportunities for people to start speaking to each other and to learn about each other. The day after, so we had a conference, and they had personalized name tags featuring their interest. Because we had sent that survey before the event, we were able to personalize the name tag with their interest. And then again, was an opportunity for them to connect. Oh, you like movie, oh, you like traveling. And we had session at tables where attendees had the opportunity to speak to each other about those interests. We also had networking bingo activities and prizes. So just to help connect and make those connections. In the conference, we had a mix of small group and large group interaction. We also had a photo booth with photo opportunities and giveaways. And then we had really discussion about the future of the district, including, what are the roles. We wanted to be transparent. So we wanted to let people know, to have a definition of each role, like what does it mean to be a president? How much time are you going to spend being a president as a volunteer? We spoke also about the future activities of the district. So I think the result was really, and we could already feel it on the second day, that they started creating meaningful connections. And it's the same thing that, contact matters, human contact matters. So for us, the most important was the communication channel was not digital, it was really, the people doing it. And so we decided when we went there, we decided also that bilingual staff should be there, again, to create those connections. We had our board chair, our vice chair attended. We also, were prepared. So we reviewed all the list of attendees. We reviewed the volunteer opportunities they were interested in. So we identified potential volunteers in advance, and really during the event, we tried to connect with them. And we facilitated introduction between members with similar interests.
And we're going to move on to the next, but if you can just quickly tell us.
Sorry, I'm too long, huh? Sorry.
Well, no, you're long, just long enough. Perfect, but we need to move on. Just wondering if you could tell us what were the outcomes. It sounds like you had some good outcomes.
So the outcomes were really, really good because, and up to this day, so we succeeded creating something like a lively and active district. So now we have 10 volunteers. So we were looking for 4. We have 10 of them, and they are there. They're still they're still with us and creating events and activities for the district. But we also learned that after the event, you have to follow up. It's not enough to have just an event and have a list of volunteers, but then you have to work with them afterwards. Sorry for being long.
No apologies needed. This is my job. So I have the cane. Okay. Well, let's move on. We're going to get back to you probably with some questions, but after we get through all our panelists. But Sage, you have 10 to 12 minutes, and then would you like a 2-minute warning?
Sure.
Okay.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Yes, so lovely to be on the panel and meet everyone and chat about this. Very passionate about the Silver Leaf Awards and super excited to be here. I actually started my career in media. I started in television and radio news in Lloydminster, CKSA, if anyone's familiar with that station. It's no longer, unfortunately, but great small market station. And spent most of my career actually working at CTV Calgary as a anchor, reporter, and producer. Moved into communications, did some work in nonprofit, also for an agency, and I've been the director of communications here at Calgary Co-op for the past 7 years. And so our project was about an app launch that we launched in September of 2023. So if you're familiar with Calgary Co-op, you'll know that we're in a number of different lines of business. And for those who are not, we have about 100 locations in Calgary and surrounding areas, including food stores, wine, spirits, beer, home healthcare, pharmacy, petroleum, cannabis. I always have to make sure I don't miss any of them. So lots of different locations that we support. And what we were finding is we have 400,000 members, and we were hearing from them that they wanted, greater access to their patronage. So as a cooperative, we do pay patronage to our members. They earn patronage on their purchases. And we were hearing from some of our members, they were getting a check at the end of the year and saying, "This is great, Calgary Co-op, thank you. Got a free check, no idea what I did to earn it." And so we really wanted to make sure we had that transparency piece. We wanted to engage with some of our members who really wanted technology, who wanted the ability to see their shopping lists, to see their receipts, to get some of their offers in the palm of their hands. And so we embarked on a pretty ambitious project starting in really 2020. We did a lot of research and built a really solid business case for this app launch. And then we decided when we were ready, we had all the technology, we had all the tools, we really wanted to launch it to our employees first. So we really had 3 goals with this project: was to modernize our membership program, to improve the digital experience, and to clearly demonstrate the membership values, help our members understand the value of shopping with Calgary Co-op. So we launched our app first to our team members. They are stakeholder number 1, 3,800 team members, and we launched that to them in March of 2023. Wanted to give them lots of time to, download the app, give them some offers, give them some games and tools, and really asked for that great feedback from them to make sure that there were, a really usable experience and there weren't things that we hadn't thought of. And so we spent a lot of time gathering that internal feedback. I should mention in the app, we included a number of different tools, including those personalized offers I mentioned. We created our own currency called bonus cash. And so our team members were able to earn some bonus cash on purchases and then be able to turn around and spend that back in our lines of business. There was also the digital receipts, some games, and then again, that real-time patronage tracking. So after we spent some time making some tweaks and making some adjustments, we were ready to launch in September of 2023. So again, a massive change management component, a massive communications component, trying to reach 400,000 members who previously we had mainly been communicating via email, and mail was a massive undertaking, certainly. And it was one where we were able to work with a number of different stakeholders internally, from our IT teams, operations, marketing, external partners. We engaged with some PR agencies and had some really fantastic results. We achieved 95% employee app adoption within the first fiscal year, which we were really, really pleased with. We had 17,000 member signups in that first week in September, that first week of launch. We reached 150,000 app users by the end of that fiscal year, so the end of that October, and we acquired over 37,000 new memberships, so achieving 95% of our annual target. So for us, it was really about taking a project that we had put a lot of energy and effort into and turning it into a really great plan. And we were really thrilled to put it forward for a Silverleaf award. I'm probably under the 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah, you are.
My
You got a few more
journalism
minutes
background.
Yeah. Okay, well, why don't I ask you then,
Sure.
how key or how instrumental was being able to run it internally first? I mean,
Yeah.
you said you changed and tweaked it a little bit. Maybe you can give an example of a tweak or two. And also, did you avoid any potential disasters by
Yes.
running it?
Yeah, great question, Mirko. I think For us, our employees, 3,800 employees, there are our ambassadors. We actually call them app ambassadors during our campaign period, because again, we knew that if we wanted to be successful, we needed to ensure that that communication flowed down to our front of store. We had to make sure that everyone on the front lines of our locations knew exactly the reasons behind it. They had been fully prepped through all of the different change management levels. We had certainly dealt with a few people who were resistors, asking questions of why do we need to change? Why do we need to launch this? So, did a lot of research. I got my ProSci certification through it to ensure I, knew all about all of the change management levels. But what we found from them was some really valuable feedback. There were a few tweaks as far as some of the ability to display some of the components of the tools. Definitely some adjustments we made to some of the offers in there, some of the games, the frequency of the games, the prizes. So it was really, really helpful. And when it came time to launch, our team was so excited because they'd had time. We actually found that they were already starting to chat about it a little bit in store. So there was a bit of a soft launch period prior to, because they were saying to customers, you just wait till September. You're not going to believe how exciting this new tool is going to be. It is going to game change the way that you shop us. And so when it came time for the September launch, our community was really ready for it. So I think, one piece of advice I would share with other communicators, we're a pretty small communications team. Not sure if anybody on the call is kind of coming from that background. And so what I've loved about the Silver Leaf is getting feedback from judges, having the ability to collaborate with other communicators. There's power in IABC. There's power in this connection, and being able to hear some of the other speakers and joining panels like this. Previous, what I had heard from some other communicators was, make sure that your internal team knows what you are doing, what you're communicating, why you're communicating it, and answering the what's in it for me before you even go external. So we really took that to heart, and it made a tremendous difference.
Is this the first time that you entered a Silverleaf?
This is first time for Silverleaf. Yes, we had previously submitted. So as I said, we had an internal plan and an external plan because both had a lot of different layers, some different goals, certainly different audiences, absolutely. And so we actually submitted both of these for a gold quill, and actually won for the internal communications piece for the gold quill. So our team was really, really proud of that. And for this submission, the external project that we won a Silver Leaf for, we received great feedback. And I think when I think of submitting for a Silver Leaf, the award is fantastic. That's, that the cherry on top. But what I love the most, and I know we'll chat about being an evaluator a bit later, what I love the most is the feedback, because I know those judges are putting time and thought and energy into that feedback. And we took that feedback to heart, and we reworked our submission and submitted it for the Silver Leaf, and we won. So that was really exciting.
Congratulations! That's a great story. It's great to hear how you iterate things, and how that kind of research feeds the next iteration and a successful product and a successful campaign. That's great. Okay, now we'll move on to our third panelist, Tyler. Is our our interprovincial man of mystery here, based in Edmonton. So please go ahead.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Tyler. I am a partner and co-founder at Adverb Communications, which is a small communications agency headquartered out of Edmonton. We have clients across Western Canada, and we're focused on strategic comms for largely public sector or larger organizations. And that's where my experience is. Before starting this company, I led social media for a financial institution called ATB Financial, which the Albertans of the room are like ATB, and everyone else is like, what are you talking about? And then I led social media for a university called MacEwan University before that. So my agency actually collected 3 awards this year at the Silver Leaf Awards, which we're absolutely thrilled about. So I'm going to speak to 2 of them pretty briefly and then spend a little more time on one of them. So the first one, we did win an award of merit. For this one, we partnered with Explore Edmonton, which is Edmonton's tourism development agency. they needed to create a logo for a bid package to host an athletic event called the Gay Games, which is happening in 2023. So with very little money and 5 days of time, me and my agency and my creative team sprinted through a process and came up with a logo that really, it uses the iconic North Saskatchewan River that cuts through our city and the shape of, or with the colors of a pride flag. And I think really speaks to the inclusive, welcoming spirit of Edmonton. And this was my agency's first pure design award. So it's very meaningful for us to pick up some hardware for it. We're mostly writers at Adverb, so to win a design project was very cool. Moving on, we won an award of excellence. This one was for our social media work with a particular section of the University of Alberta, which is called Student Life. So these are all of the student services and student accommodations that the university offers for current, largely undergraduate students on campus. We are the agency of record for the University of Alberta, so we wrote their overarching social media strategy. We've written several kind of sub-strategies through the organization for their social media. For this one, they had several social media accounts that were speaking to students, offering, you know, maybe career advice services or psychological services. And working with the university, we consolidated all of these accounts into one super mega ultra account, U of A or U Alberta Student Life. And we created one social media hub for students to get resources, advice, some lifestyle content. So with this one, we set goals for the first year of execution on the account, which looked like goals for consolidation and goals for how the content would perform. We brought a ton of structure, planning, logistics. Anyone who's done social for a large organization knows that it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of planning. We brought those systems into place. And we also implemented some really cool research they had done into the annual student life cycle. So we had quite a bit of knowledge about what this audience needed to hear from us in terms of what we needed to communicate. And we set what we felt was a fairly ambitious target, which was to take all of the existing accounts and increase their awareness measured in impressions by 70% and gain 1,000 new followers. We were able to increase that awareness by 400% and secured nearly 2,000 new followers. So we left the first year feeling like things have been quite successful. We created a genuinely helpful channel that meets students where they're at, talks to them in a way that they recognize, respects the boundaries of the U of A's brand. We can't do whatever we want on social media with a large legacy institution, and adds value to the student experience. So really happy with that project. And then I'll just spend a little bit of time on our second award of excellence. So we're a very small agency, less than 10 people, but we do some work to give back to the community with pro bono work supporting local queer advocacy organizations. So we partnered with the Edmonton Queer History Project, which is a research institution out of MacEwan University here in Edmonton. What they do is they're a group of historians led by Senator Chris Wells, who they look through archives, they interview community elders, and they try to document and record what is the history of all the queer people and businesses and activism that sort of never made it into the mainstream conversation about our city. So we supported them for 2 years with their day-to-day social media content. It's a dream project for us. They find great stories, we find cool ways to tell them. We can really get some eyeballs on them. So one of those stories was about a fellow named Ian Patterson, who was an openly gay high school student in the 1980s. They found a news article about his yearbook quote, which in 1985 he'd written that he dreamed of eventually settling down in a quiet suburb with a tall, rich, hunky man with a bushy mustache. Which we should all be so lucky. So this quote was censored by the school in the 80s. It made national news when Ian protested that censorship. And of course, this story is as relevant today as back then, as Alberta's government actively tries to limit the rights of queer people in our province. So we knew we had a great story. With this client, we were averaging video views of about 3,000 on social media, which had already been a huge improvement for them since taking over. We set an ambitious target of 15,000 views for this one, so 5x our usual, and then it went legitimately viral. 500,000 views, 100,000 engagements, folks trying to track down Ian Patterson. We later learned from a friend that he did find his hunky mustachioed partner, but has since passed away. We got local media coverage. We created a follow-up video that also exceeded our original goals. And ultimately, we made it easy to learn about the queer history of our city. We told a great story, we got eyeballs on it, and we reinforced a key message that there have always been queer people here in this city, and there always will be, whether or not they're showing up in the history books. So a great story, project we're very proud of. This project later won a Gold Quill Award and what has been named Best of the Best in that show. So work we're super, super proud of. And that's us.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Congratulations all around to Tyler, you and your team, and Sage and Ann, and all of your teams. I guess Tyler, was this the first time that you entered Silverleaf?
I can't remember. I think it's the first time this agency's won. I've won in the past through my work with ATB Financial. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember. I can pull up our project management board and tell you.
Okay.
I'll flag down an account manager and see what the answer is.
You don't remember the first time? My God, I'm still sweating over the first time I entered.
Usually this looks like silver leaves are due and it's the night before and I'm writing all of them and then hitting submit. So
okay, so which gives me a question, which leads to a question. Folks, put your questions in the chat and then we'll get to them. I'll ask a few questions just to get us rolling here. But what surprised you? We'll stay on Tyler for a second. But what surprised you about entering the Silver Leaf or Gold Quill? What surprised you about the process? Because it's a process that I'd never encountered before. I came from the world of journalism, and there's prizes, awards, entries that you have to do all the time. What was different about this?
Yeah. I think that what's different about these awards is their focus on objectives and results. So many, say, advertising awards or design awards are sort of about is this a nice design? Is it trendy? Does it look good? These awards are about, did you set ambitious objectives? And did you not only exceed those objectives, but I found the projects that win consistently far exceeded our ambitious objectives. And I can show you in my project plan that we were directly responsible for that. It was not chance. We did some good comms work and it legitimately made a difference. So sometimes I now expect that, but in the past, I've sometimes treated these as any other award and just put maybe a project that I thought looked really good or was something that I thought was a clever bit of work. And now we really focus our submissions on did we set an ambitious goal and do we have the data and the process and the story to tell a story to the judges that we did something really special and intentional from a comms perspective and made a difference.
Right. Okay. And how about you? You said it was your first time, and did you have any surprises, or did you go in with your eyes wide open, knowing what to expect?
For us, so it's my colleague who entered the award. So I was not the one writing, and completing the form, but I think it's already our 60. We received a few Silver Leaf awards, so it wasn't a new process. I think we received 16, so it wasn't a new process for us. It's still always very useful. We always try to find new initiatives with very specific goals. As Tyler said, I think that's really very useful also for us with having that, those specific goals, because we know that, in order for us to get, or to at least to submit the award, we need to follow the process. So it's kind of best practices. We go back to the Silverleaf, document form and see it's kind of a check, like, okay, have we forgotten anything? It's kind of a good reminder each time to follow a full process, and addressing like really crucial elements. And again, as Tyler said, then we also have to find, like, not only you need objective, but then you need to prove that you've obtained the objective. So you also need to take the time, because I find sometimes that's the issue. We go with a project and we don't take the time at the end just to evaluate correctly the project. But here, because we're submitting the project, then we also have to take the time at the end to evaluate and see how well we did. And we can use that also. It's also, a learning experience that we can use in a next project.
Okay, good. We got a question here from Penny. It says, to be a winner, you have to be clear and concise submission with SMART objectives. Speaking of objectives, how do you approach writing the submission to craft a winner? Let's go to Sage. So how do you approach writing the submission?
For me, I am one of those people that likes to gather the information along the way. And so as we were preparing for this project, we had an idea that this, could be a really great entry. And so we had printed off the rubrics early. I had heard a great talk, plug for IABC Calgary. They had a great speaker, I want to say 2 years ago, come in and at an open board meeting, give a really great presentation on some tips and tricks for applying for Silverleaf and Gold Quill. And so I found that really, really useful. So I really did my research, and pulled up a number of different, sessions just like that from other chapters, printed off the rubrics. Me and my team went through them and started to kind of make notes along the way. How can we measure this? What are our goals? What's the research? And what are going to be some of our work samples? And we found that really helpful, so that when it came time, because I have heard from some other communicators, it can be a bit of an intimidating process, certainly. And so for us, that was a really helpful tool to be able to just, pick away at it as we were launching this project. So when it came time for the submission, we were able to weave the pieces together and tell a really great story. I think the other thing I would say is being able to show that clear line for the judges is really, really helpful. And we really made sure that we had that clear line in our submission of the business challenge, the strategy, the execution, the measurable outcomes. Again, you're trying to condense it into 4 pages. It's a pretty tight format. And so I think the process is fantastic. It's really great learning. I think you learn as you go through the process, you learn from the feedback. And I think for us, it was just continuing to refine until we were ready to hit submit.
And so, Tyler, I want to know how you do this by just the night before the deadline. Tell us all, we're waiting.
I think we have finally graduated away from cramming it in at the last minute. And maybe that's why we're winning more consistently. So I think we follow the project plan template that IBC provides exactly. So we're not writing our own thing. We're answering exactly what those questions are. We do a lot of research into the example winners that our chapter in Edmonton provides. I'm sure they're available in other places as well. So really looking at what does success look like from a winner. We also did a deep dive into the rubric in the last couple of years. So it's publicly available. What does a 7 out of 7 look like for answering this question? What is in there? And we read through that and made sure that we are answering in a 7 out of 7 way for every single question. So we're really writing bespoke IABC award submission document for each of these. Now that we've been through this, because we have quite a robust local chapter in Edmonton, so we're used to writing these at the local level and now are writing them at the national and international level. We have a better sense of what projects might be IABC candidates. So I mentioned a number of our social media clients where we do ongoing work don't have that defined beginning, middle, end, or maybe don't have as compelling a story. We're now better able to recognize this project that we're starting, I think could could be recognized here. And we're able to gather, we do proactive work to gather the data that we need so that it's available to us when we sit down to write. I know that we're not all in that position, but now we have a bit of an annual process around it. And yeah, that's how it works. And then a group of us, there is an element of cramming, but it no longer happens the night before.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, that's a relief to hear, right? Because I worked on
Yeah,
one
yeah.
for weeks. I think I put in 20 hours the first time that I compiled a Silverleaf word entry. So I'm a little relieved that now the process is a little more involved for you, Tyler. I feel better about myself. Anyways, Anne, how about you? Oh, sorry, you've already I think you already mentioned it, but I mean, for many of you, Sage or Anne or Tom, how do you pick a contender? You know that there's going to be a Silverleaf contender, and maybe with you, if we could start, because you're doing many projects, you have many projects on the desk. How do you say, this one's got potential?
I think we do need a project with very specific goals that has, Taylor and Sage mentioned it, but a clear line, so a start and a finish. Need to be able to assess, so have the data afterwards to assess if it, went well or not. Need to find maybe something a bit different with a, special story or something we don't do every day. It can be also a project that has seen growth and at a specific moment. For sure, we also want something that exceeded our expectations. We're not choosing or not submitting project that did less well, I would say. And for us, it's also a team effort. So it's really everyone in the team can submit or encouraged to have a look at the project they were leading. And I really encourage just to submit, to choose the project they think would work and have a try at it.
Okay. I have a question here from there are our participants here. Have you been able to leverage these wins internally to secure more funds for other communications projects and promote yourself or your function? This is from Jovita Za. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. DSA, Jovita.
I have maybe, if I, something that is interesting, like for me, especially at this time, part of the feedback we received was that maybe we could have done a better job in explaining our strategic goals and having a stronger alignment between the objective and our strategic communication. And that was really interesting because speaking about, extra budget or extra, we have a new CEO. So it makes you think, okay, so maybe in our strategic plan or when we create a project, maybe sometimes we tend to forget to explain better what we're doing. So it was kind of a good reminder when we have somebody new coming up or explaining a project to another team. The feedback of the judges really helped me saying, okay, maybe we could step back, and just take a little bit more time to explain what we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's important, at least for the evaluators, to get that narrative arc. How does everything connect? So you're actually telling a story instead of just filling in certain segments and sections. So has Sage or Tyler? I guess Tyler, you have your own organization, but Sage, I mean, with the co-op, has your Silver Award wins or Gold Quill honors, have they led to more? Has it made it easier for you to get funds for other projects?
It's a great question. I would say it's a bit of a work in progress. I think these awards certainly have helped give communications a bit more power behind its voice in our organization. As I said, we're a small team. I think, sometimes communications, depending on where it's positioned in an organization, it isn't some leaders are absolutely recognizing it is critical value. They're recognizing that it can be measured. It's strategic. There's a lot of different elements to it. It's not just firing off a number of tactics, which is fantastic. So I think these give further weight to that. So I know in our organization, by being able to share that we were able to win awards for both internal and external communications plans for this project. It not only allowed the senior leadership to see, all the great work that was done with the actual app launch itself, but all of the communication elements, because I think, marketing's got a lot of really great different ways that they can demonstrate, how their work was measured and the dollars behind that. So I would say, it is certainly a work in progress, but it has definitely helped elevate and added even more weight behind the voice of communications in our organization. So I think for those people who are kind of wondering, is it worthwhile? I would say between the learning, certainly that is huge. And then if you are successful, that is absolutely a feather in your cap, not only among other communicators, but in an organization. I certainly think it helps your organization recognize just how powerful communications can be.
It sounds like you're developing an app, and is not cheap as far as I know. I haven't commissioned one before, so it sounded like this project was expensive. I'm not asking you for the specific budget, but I mean, was there difficulty getting that kind of budget that you needed for that project? And does this success maybe soften the ground for you?
Yeah, we have not undertaken another project of this size, but I will say yes, it certainly there's a lot of components with the technological costs, the operational costs, the marketing costs. Yes, there was definitely a budget for the communications aspect, for our communications tools that we use, the PR agency, the events associated, all of those things. So definitely seeing that this was truly measurable. And then it was also recognized nationally as well. I do think should we have another project of that size, we definitely have something very tangible to be able to show and be able to make a really great case for continued budget, ideally additional budget in the future. Yes.
Right. Okay. I wanted to chat with Sage. I wanted to ask you about about evaluators. But before we get on to the evaluators, Anne or Tyler or Sage, do any of you have anything more that maybe you wanted to say about your projects or the process before we sort of
I could
go?
speak quickly to the last. I could speak quickly to the last question if you're interested.
Go ahead. Please do.
So just quickly, so for us, these make a huge difference. If we can end a case study with, and this was recognized with a national award, that is a really nice way to end that story. I also think that comms, we sometimes embed inside large organizations as much as we sort of work externally. So, and I've worked inside I've been in internal comms teams on a few of them. And sometimes I find we can spend all our time kind of solving problems or making problems go away or chasing work. And there's not always a ton of external validation. Marketing gets to say, we invested this much and we made you this much money. Comms gets to be like, you spend a bunch of money on us and no problems happened. And that was money well spent. So anytime we get a moment where we get to have some external validation, I think that we take a moment to celebrate as a team. We take a moment to celebrate with our clients, and we take a moment to think about how are we telling this story externally, because it really is the best communicators in the nation are saying you did an excellent job. I like hearing that. I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think it's very important to take a moment with that. So I can confidently say that these have helped us win new business, renew existing clients, going to their office with a trophy. They get to show that, the people who hire us get to show that to their boss, who puts it in their CEO, their report to the board later that year. Hey, we spent money on this project and it got recognized. It made a tangible, measurable difference. I really encourage anyone who wins to if no one else creates that moment for you, create it for yourself and your team and make sure that you're celebrating it.
Okay, very good. Again, a marketing moment for us, these awards.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just wanted to ask, we have 5 minutes left, and I know Jay would like a couple of minutes to talk. But first, I just wanted to explain, if you're not familiar with the process, the judging process, where every entry is evaluated by two people. And when I say evaluated, we say evaluated rather than judged. And every entry is evaluated on about 10 different segments. And there's rubrics, there's tables of things that the evaluators have to make sure that are present in or displayed by an entry before we can give certain X number of marks, which will elevate an award into award territory. We score on a 7-point scale. 4 is a competent job. I think it's 5 1/4, 5.25, and up ends up being either a Silver Leaf Award of Merit or higher than that, Silver Leaf Award of Excellence. Now, as far as Sage is, you've worked as an evaluator. I've worked as an evaluator a few times, and what's your maybe top tip for people from an evaluator's perspective? What would you recommend people do with their entries?
I think a couple of things. Really familiarize yourself with the rubrics. That's critically important. There is absolutely a formula. IABC does a really great job of laying out the formula for you, so follow it. I think tell a really great story. And as I said earlier, draw those lines for the judges. The judges are evaluating a number of submissions, and they really want to provide helpful, effective feedback. And so if you have a submission that's tough to follow, if there isn't that clear line between, what is the business problem you're trying to solve, the role of communications, the strategy, the audiences, the measurement, it's going to be harder for them to be able to provide that effective feedback. And so, really do your homework. And I know for me, I am that person that does need to start to collect things early, so that it gives me courage to make that submission. If I know that I've been, kind of doing some of the work throughout, I don't feel like I have this big, monster project that I have to embark on. So I think, take your time, do the research, and don't be intimidated. Yes, the award is absolutely the icing on the cake, and it is fantastic. But the process is huge learning, and then the feedback is huge learning.
Terrific. That's great advice, Sage. All of that. I'm going to bring in Jay here, who's going to give us a couple of minutes. Thank you very much, everybody. I want to thank the panelists, and I've put in there's some links in the chats for resources, and you're going to get, I guess, a link to the video eventually. And Jay, over to you, and thank you very much, everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mirko and Sage, Anne and Tyler, for your incredibly informative and inspiring commentary on what we're looking at in terms of your experience with entering into Silver Leaf, some of the learnings that you've come away with, and some of the tips you have in terms of emphasizing and highlighting the areas that require the most attention. Just a couple of reminders: the deadlines, the next deadline, I suppose, is June 30th. And then the final extended deadline, this is the absolute last deadline for this year's program, is July 15th. We do have staggered pricing and deadlines on the website, which is explained. I won't go into detail on that right now, but you can find that on the IABC Canada website. Resources are also available on the IABC Canada website for all divisions and categories. We did update with IABC Canada branding the most recent iteration of the IABC Gold Quill manual for providing tips and assistance for preparing your entry, and it kind of goes through a lot of the logic and ask questions to help develop the entry itself. There is also contact information on the IABC Canada website for Kristen McVeigh and I. Unfortunately, Kristen couldn't join us today. She's my co-director from IABC Canada West. So if you do have any questions, need assistance in choosing a category, need some assistance with the platform itself, or anything else with regard to your entry, please feel free to get in touch with us. The one last thing that I do always suggest to folks is, I know that sometimes an individual organization or company may not have an entry to submit, but maybe somebody within your network does. And promoting the awards through your network is also very important, because it's something that does end up being quite reciprocal. And whether it's, the famous saying of a rising tide lifts all boats, it's great to be able to see that recognition, even if it's not something that our individual organization may have been able to enter for this particular year. I'd like to thank you all for coming out today. And again, I'd like to thank our host and our panelists for the fantastic information they shared with us today and for giving us their time and wisdom.